So the Stellar Blade demo came out, and it surprised a lot of people, with its fun and challenging combat, incredible graphics, and of course another video game waifu. To many people before playing this game was really just the jiggle physics simulator, but after having tried it, it seems public perception on it has completely shifted, and many people who perhaps weren't too interested in the assets of the game are now genuinely excited to play the full game. However, Stellar Blade, just like most video games coming out these days, has been subject to a little bit of discourse. Mainly this rising idea that the West hates beauty and that countries like Japan and now South Korea do care about beauty, and that shows in the games that they make. I know, it's a wild idea, but there are genuinely a lot of people claiming that Stellar Blade is making woke consumers in the West seethe and scream at this supposed destruction of all their values. As if people on the left don't also like good, assets. Now, the sentiment that I've seen as a response to Stellar Blade from some gamers is that this game somehow owns the left. Which of course isn't just a thing being said about Stellar Blade, people have recently been saying it about Sydney Sweeney too. That her blonde locks and big boobs are destroying the woke left by proving that beauty sells. Naturally, their illusion is most often broken, which is always funny to see. However, situations like these are just weird, but also kind of problematic, and let me explain what I mean. Listen, okay? I appreciate good jiggle physics as much as the next person does. What's not to love? I don't believe a game like Stellar Blade is problematic because of its character designs. It is very sexual and suggestive in nature, and that's the point. But there's nothing wrong with this, and I don't think there are many people saying this. If the game is good and people enjoy it, then that's what matters. I think over-sexualization absolutely can go way too far, especially if it happens extensively, but Stellar Blade having characters with fat, juicy asses that are made to look doll-like is perfectly fine. Just like how it's also perfectly fine to have characters who look more realistic, or who don't look traditionally beautiful, whatever that means. I mean, no one is complaining about Nier Automata, a game with a well-written story, fun gameplay, and sexy characters. I don't remember the release of that game being anywhere near how Stellar Blade is now, where people are unironically saying, "Ha! Take that, nerds! This one is for the straights!" Like, it's really weird how people are trying to claim that this game is a win for straight people or some kind of destruction of woke video games, because it really just isn't the case. And I think a big problem that could come from games like Stellar Blade is if people start creating unrealistic expectations, which I think is absolutely already happening. We've seen more and more characters in gaming, mostly female, get called ugly and not sexy enough, with some examples being Aloy from Horizon, MJ from Spider-Man, this new character from the upcoming Fable game, and even some really disturbing shit like Ellie from The Last of Us remake, in which she is a literal child. Either way, many newer female characters are getting called ugly. Way more so than there used to be. And if you ask the people who are saying these things, then it's because of wokeness. The West wants to be progressive and inclusive, and that of course means that beautiful women must be eradicated, because the West hates women. That's the only possible explanation, right? Here's the thing though, I haven't seen an actual solid argument for why the woke West would want to do this. What do they get out of purposefully uglifying women? Maybe, and stay with me here, this is complex shit. Maybe video game companies are just making a wide range of female characters who look different from each other, with different art styles, and some being more realistic while others are more cartoonish. Maybe some are making more sexualized designs for characters while others are making non-sexualized designs. Maybe there is no great conspiracy theory. Yes, throughout the 2010s there was more of an effort to address the over-sexualization of women in video games and just the treatment of women in the industry in general. I mean, we had a whole fucking toxic internet movement because of this, and it has caused some changes. The amount of purely sexual character designs has definitely gone down, but that doesn't mean that there aren't still plenty of games coming out that do have characters meant to be sexy. You just have to look around rather than hyperfixate on specific examples of characters who don't fit within your own sex fantasies, that you can then screenshot in vicarious situations, to make them look even worse and then go cry about it online. Perhaps if you just looked beyond your incredibly narrow horizons, you wouldn't be so upset, and you could stop pestering the rest of us with your whiny bullshit. For example, a game like Cyberpunk has many sexy characters that you can even have sex with. Same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. You're not lacking options. There's even some of the characters within the games that are getting called out that I know for a fact that these plebs would find hot. Like how Spider-Man 2 has MJ but also Black Cat. And listen, this is not to give in to these bullshit arguments because I simply disagree with the notion that modern video games are uglifying women. MJ, Aloy, and all the rest are not ugly. They may not fit your specific traits for being attractive, and that's fine. We're all attracted to different things, and if your purpose for playing video games is seeing hot characters, then there are plenty of options that will satisfy your little John, if only you can look past your limited perspective. However, this conversation is just kind of annoying. These characters aren't made to be attractive, that's not their purpose, and it's incredibly fucking shallow to make online discussions about female characters in video games all about their looks and attractiveness. And I feel shameful that this is what my video is about, because I need to respond to these dumb fuck arguments. Sometimes feels like we just haven't moved on from Gamergate. That most discussion around male characters will be deep and thought-provoking, critiquing the depth of a character, while discussion around female characters boils down to her big boobas. Please date me. Naturally, this isn't all video game discussion, and thank fuck for that. We have made progress, and we keep making progress, and we shouldn't try to stop making progress. We should keep being critical of things, make your analyses. This video is not telling you that you have to like all women in video games, just like how you don't have to like all men in video games. If you're seeing problems or something that you just want to comment on, then go ahead and do it. I just hope that more people try to do this with more nuance, rather than whatever this conversation is about. That one side of the culture war hates beauty and wants to uglify everything, and that the other side only cares about beauty without substance. It's a boring conversation and it's not helping anyone. And this problem isn't just as simple as, oh, you know what, some people just think that video game characters are ugly. No, in my opinion, this is a much deeper problem because it's helping to create incredibly narrow and over-exaggerated standards for what women look like, which not only can have some serious consequences for girls and women in regard to confidence, self-worth, and identity. I mean, I can only imagine that seeing posts like these constantly online can cause a lot of insecurity, thinking that this is what they have to look like, which is a massive fucking shame. However, this can also have large consequences for boys and men, where especially a large portion of gamers already feel marginalized and isolated in some kind of way. I mean, the whole red pill movement and the rise of figures like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson even, which you can probably tell that I'm not a big fan of, are results of a very real problem that many men have. Feeling socially isolated, feeling like the world is against them, not having many deep and meaningful friendships, not knowing how to talk to girls, feeling insecure and sad, and overall having no direction in their lives. And these are real problems. Issues that we need to take seriously if we don't want more Andrew Tates, because so many men are desperate for solutions to their problems, and when they're so easily subjected to content from guys who push these easy solutions, content that's just filling them with lies about real masculine qualities, promising results if they just follow these tips, showing them glimpses of a life they think that they want, full of materialistic nonsense, then it's no wonder that many guys fall into these rabbit holes where they grow to despise and blame wokeness, or left-leaning ideas, or even just liberal ideas, or DEI, or whatever other buzzword is used for the things in society that they feel oppresses them. When you're feeling this low and easy solutions walk by, you're very likely to grab them. That in this case means blaming everything around you. When the answer to men's problems become geared towards ending this vague concept of wokeness or blaming leftist ideology for ruining movies and video games and changing the culture at large, making women hate men and reject them, then men only end up getting further stuck in this vicious cycle that keeps them oppressed. Because the answer to a guy feeling socially isolated shouldn't be to hate women, or to blame woke ideology, or to focus solely on materialistic gain. That line of thinking only keeps you stuck. It's counterproductive because it takes the responsibility away from the individual. The solution isn't to blame everything around you, the answer is to look within yourself, be realistic about yourself and the people you meet. Allow yourself to be emotionally vulnerable around the ones you love and care for, because trust me, they love and care for you, but you can't truly be happy in relationships if you're not ready to open up. These deeper solutions are often way more difficult than the red pill solution, because these solutions require genuine introspection and the courage to stand against the outdated norms and ideas that men can't be emotional, that men can't cry when they need to, that men can't have meaningful relationships, that men must make loads of money and go out with 10 out of 10 women, and that these relationships they're in should have no substance. So many men feel like utter shit, and it's a problem we need to address. And we need to get better at meeting these men with compassion, empathy, and real solutions, and hope that they listen rather than fall down these toxic and unproductive rabbit holes. So yes, the discourse surrounding Stellar Blade is important because it can have serious implications for how future discourse continues with regard to beauty in video games and just culture in general. Okay, now how did we go from Stellar Blade's jiggle physics to a discussion about men's issues and the patriarchy? Well, that's a good question. I tend to see an issue or controversy that I feel deserves to be responded to, and oftentimes it leads to greater conversations. And wherever my writing wants to go, I let it take me there. This does naturally mean that my scripts end up way more complex than I originally planned, and so my already horrendous upload schedule gets even worse. I have been dabbling with the idea of doing more live commentary videos where I respond to a video or a situation while recording it, rather than writing a script beforehand, and if you guys would be down for that, then I might try a little mixture between that and my regular format. However, I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that it gave you something to think about. What do you think about my arguments? Am I way off on my assessment of the whole ugly video game women debate? Or do you find some resonance with it? Let me know down below. Also, be sure to check out my memberships, it would greatly help out the channel, but other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day, stay safe, and peace out.